Hey y'all, welcome back to the Skookum Report. I'm Bob, and tonight I have a few short Bigfoot encounter stories for you that I've been setting aside until I got a few enough to do a whole episode here for you guys. And these also come from Bobbie Short's material, and I want to thank her friends and family again for allowing me to share these. I consider it an honor and a privilege, and I'm really grateful. And so this first one, bear with me, I'm going to try and do these back to back. And this first one is titled, Witness Sees Bow-Legged Bigfoot Run Alongside Her Truck in Sharp County, Arkansas in the year 2000. And she says, hello, I saw a Bigfoot in Sharp County one rainy night coming home while driving my truck. I never believed all this until I saw it that one night. And now I know that they do exist. This particular Sasquatch was covered with black hair all over its body. It ran across the county road, squatted down, and when I got close to it, it made eye contact with me, and then it jumped up and ran beside my truck. I was actually concerned it was going to jump into my truck bed, but thank God it didn't. Instead, it turned and veered off and left the roadside. Now, I know what I saw, and I never believed these reports till it happened to me and my daughter that rainy night. Now, I live out in the country, and the road where this happened was on my way home. Now, I've taken that road many times, but that night it was different for sure. I saw it, and I wasn't going to say anything, but then my daughter said, Mom, did you see that? And I said, yes, I did. But I wasn't going to say anything. Nobody wants to believe us, but I know what we saw. Now, this Bigfoot was short. It wasn't tall, but he was bow-legged. He did make eye contact with us. It's almost like he knew who I was and he knew my truck. It was really weird. Now, I was not scared, and I know that these things had come around my place after dark, and I never did see any of them, though except bear and possums and armadillos when I stepped out the door. But we know what we saw. This was back in 2000. People think you're crazy, absolutely nuts, but we saw what we saw. And it was 9 p.m. at night, and we were bringing pizza home after we had made a pizza run. And my daughter was only 15 years old at the time. It bothered her, and she would not stay out there. But I stayed out in the country after that for years. Yeah, she wouldn't live out there anymore, and I stayed out there for years. This happened out in the country, down a country road between Hardy and Ravenden, Arkansas, and it happened only once that one night. Thanks for contacting me, she says, and her name was Evelyn. Okay, now let's see what else we got here. This one is from Caribou County, Idaho. It was in the late 1960s that this happened. And it goes, a friend of my wife told us about one of their friends who had an encounter, and I got in touch with him, and he agreed to relay his experience to me. I was very interested since it occurred in my backyard in Sulphur Canyon off the Caribou Basin south of Soda Springs, Idaho. It was mid to late November of 1967 or 68, I can't quite remember. He was on a late deer hunt with some companions on snowmobiles. Heavy snow was falling, but it was calm. The man had shot a deer and was dragging it back to the snowmobile when across the canyon he could just make out a figure coming down the slope about a quarter-mile distance away. Now, he thought it was his friend, a big guy, coming to help with the deer. Now, it continued to approach, and he left the deer laying in the snow to walk down and meet his friend. And the figure didn't seem to notice him until it was within about 35 yards. Then it saw him, and it stopped with a look of surprise like an oh crap look on its face. And it had human-like features and a look of intelligence, not like going to the zoo and looking at a monkey. It stood very erect. It must have been about 7 feet tall, and it was covered with a silver coyote-colored fur, about 3 inches long, longer on the backs of his arms. And he felt no threat from the creature, he said, and they both turned and retreated out of sight. He emphasized that he spent a lot of time in the woods and he knows what he saw. That's very interesting. He probably was coming to get the deer. This one is from Braxton County, West Virginia. It was back in August of 1976. A gentleman named Ronald Stark and Clifford Barnes drove off Interstate 79 at Skin Creek onto a road to Weston Drive-In movie theater just as it was getting dark. And that's when they encountered this ape-like thing on the road. It was huge and black, and it crouched down. And then it straightened up to look like about 8 feet tall. It stood in the middle of the road watching them for about 30 seconds. And then it walked off into the woods. The sheriff's department was called. Let's see. Here's another one. Portsmouth, Ohio. Wayne National Forest. Okay, and this is from Dallas Gilbert and Wayne Burton to Bobbie Short. Some of y'all may have heard of them. Good guys. Okay, and I guess it's Dallas writing because he says, Wayne and I have been researching now for a long time together. We have been studying Bigfoot for a few years. My report is on September 29th, 2000 at Wayne National Forest. And we have been studying for about 7 months now. Wayne and I have had a lot of contacts in this area for a long time. And we've been feeding them different things. Back on August 10th, 2000 at 9:30, both of us, we saw a baby Bigfoot next to the road, and it had a face like a monkey sort of, but its hands were very human. Now, we weren't able to film it, and I also have Bigfoot on video film from private land on March 12th, 2000. And how much more would you like to know, my friend? He says. I guess he was sharing a lot of material with her. Just about every time we go out there, we have something happen with Bigfoot. This sighting was on September 29th, and it happened around 4 in the morning. I film a lot of my research, and I record a lot of the sounds as well. I hope this will help you, and I will only show my area if Wayne and I get all the rights to do that. Is that okay with you? And he says, take care, from Dallas Gilbert and Wayne Burton. And this was to Bobbie Short on Wednesday, October 4th, 2000, says. Okay, this one is the last one for now. And a lot of you have heard of the Minerva monster in Ohio. But this is not about the Minerva monster in particular, but this is from Minerva, Ohio, in Stark County. Okay, it says, the most recent sightings in Ohio were east of Canton, Ohio, near Minerva, Ohio. A father and son were driving down a heavily wooded country road when they both noticed something beginning to cross the road in broad daylight at a distance of about 50 yards. Once they passed the area, the son asked the dad if he saw that jogger cross the road into the woods. And the dad replied to the son, that wasn't a jogger, son. It was covered in black from head to toe. He mentioned it had a long torso and was jet black in color. Now, once home, they both decided to go back to the area and look for tracks. They checked out the area where the alleged creature had crossed the road and found multiple 5-toed tracks. The footprints measured over 14 inches long and almost 7 inches wide at the toes. They both decided to try to make casts of one of the tracks, so they drove into town to buy some plaster Paris, and then they went back to the scene. The cast turned out pretty good, but then it broke down the middle due to them pulling it out before it was completely dry. Daggone. Don Keating will be doing a more extensive interview with this witness in the coming weeks. Okay, this is a side note to Bobbie Short. I'm hoping to get a copy of the cast sometime soon. I guess maybe they took another one or put it back together. Not quite sure about that. Just for the record, Minerva has had many years of ongoing Bigfoot activity, including the very famous Minerva hominids case that I'm sure Ron Schaefer could fill you in on. And that's it. That's the last one. I hope you guys enjoyed these little short stories. And if you or anyone you know has had a Bigfoot encounter or a sighting, or just has a story about Bigfoot, maybe relayed from a friend or a relative, why don't you write it down in an email and shoot it to me at skookumreport@gmail.com. That's skookumreport@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to get it up on the show. It's not a problem. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment and say hi. I enjoyed meeting you guys, talking to you guys. Met so many great people. I want to say hi to Big Mike. He's an awesome guy. Been there for me the past few days. He's a good man. And I guess that's about it for tonight. Let's see. Oh, I already said something about that stupid documentary on Hulu. It really left a bad taste in my mouth. The 3-part documentary I've been waiting to see for a couple months. It wasn't even about Bigfoot. Such false advertising. Don't waste your time, guys. But if you want to see a good documentary about pot farmers getting busted and killing each other, whatever, go ahead and take a look at it. It's pretty good in that respect, but otherwise not about Bigfoot. All right, you guys, y'all take care, and I'll see you next time on the Skookum Report. God bless. Bye.